Students, this is Mr. Burns. So we're talking here about improving our reading skills again. So sadly, we do have a problem at the middle school. Too many students have a hard time reaching very easily attainable goal in AR of earning 10 points per quarter. Just 10 points per quarter. There are some kids that do that in one day. There are some kids that do that in a week. There are some kids that haven't come close to earning 10 points all school year. Too many students are reading too far below grade level. Look at your ZPD, and if it starts with a 3, you have a problem. Reading is the best way to build a better brain. Writing and math problem solving are also two other ways to build a better brain. So let's take a more in-depth look at when things are not going well for us. Let's see if I can make that click. Nope. There we go. So, how to make a poor reader. Here's a little instruction on that. So first of all, at the top it tells you that avoiding or disliking reading leads to bad problems. Because if you begin with not liking reading, that's going to lead to falling behind in reading and falling behind your classmates. Now, falling behind your classmates has another really negative effect, and that is you start to feel ashamed or you're embarrassed about where your reading is compared to where they're reading. So that works both different ways. You're ashamed or embarrassed because your reading level is so low, or you're ashamed or you're embarrassed because your peers, your classmates can read so much better than you. So what happens after that? You start getting into this vicious cycle where you are always reading less than what your classmates are, and that doesn't help your reading grow at all. Okay, so I went and talked to some of the smartest readers in the 6th grade, and I got some advice from them on things that they do. And one of the first things that I learned is that, well, here's the breakdown. There are 3 pieces of advice that they have for you. One is competition, one is dedicated reading time, and a final one is getting good at finding interesting books. So the person that told me that they were competitive, they have a very high word count, and they don't like to get passed up, and they have a friend that's kind of hot on their tail. So they're always interested in reading and passing the next AR book because that helps them grow or maintain their lead over their competition. All right. Another reading expert told me just about having this dedicated reading time. And actually, they reminded me a lot of one of my own kids because, I think 2 or 3 of the Burns boys, when they were in middle school, they got in trouble because they were the kid that they loved reading so much that they sometimes had a book out underneath their desk, and when the teacher wasn't looking, they would secretly try to read. So having that kind of positive attitude where you've set aside time during the day to read. So this person also said that, they read, if they got their work done, they read. If they get here early in the morning, sometimes they'll go down to the library and read. And they definitely like to read before they go to bed because it relaxes them and helps them to get a good night's sleep. All right, and the final person that I talked to told me about, I am an expert at finding good books in the library. And so they had a whole criteria that they would go through. Sometimes it was, wow, this is a catchy title, so I want to learn more about that, or I want to read this book just because the title of the book looks so interesting to me. And almost all of them said that when they do find an author that they really like, they stick with that author and they'll read other books by that author. A couple of them were very willing to get suggestions from teachers about good books that their teachers have read, and teachers try to read books that you're interested in, or they are good at asking people in the library, hey, what's a good book that I can read? So if you want to break that cycle of being a low ability reader or having a low ZPD, like 3 or lower, that's really bad. Take the advice of your classmates. Don't listen to this old man talking here. Take the advice of your classmates and be competitive about your reading. Set aside a dedicated reading time or get good at finding interesting books. This is Mr. Burns signing out.